Start the recording.
Well, hi, everybody. We are glad you were able to join us today. And the reason for our session is that looking at the release dates for the remote implementation tools that we've had, we found out last week that Unit 2 for kindergarten, first and second grade in the at-home units is not going to be released until that last week of school right before our winter break. So we know that several people had been really relying on those resources this fall for the first unit. And so we wanted to take some time to answer questions and show you some things and look at a way of planning where you can go ahead and start Unit 2 as we're waiting on those at-home units to come up. We've got lots of other resources that we can dig into and be sharing. So we'll go ahead and get started looking at that. First of all, I took a minute and just went ahead and captured some screenshots of the kindergarten first and second grade pacing guide to show you that ordinarily you would be starting on Unit 2, which for kindergarten is pushes and pulls, November 16th. And that unit is not designed to wrap up until February 19th there. So that gives you 11 and a half weeks for that unit. So that averages about 2 lessons a week, really, and you wouldn't have too much trouble getting through it. So we know that those lessons are long enough that often we split them up into different parts, and that's the way people have been tackling that this fall with the first unit. So I just wanted, I've kind of gone through thinking about and planning for these units, a way of doing it where you're using the at-home videos and the regular platform. And so I want to share that with you today. But again, with first grade, same thing. You would begin on your light and sound unit ordinarily that week of November 16th, and you'll have 22 lessons on the regular platform to accomplish in 11 and a half weeks. So that gives you about 2 lessons a week at a very comfortable pace. Right. And the same thing with properties of materials. You've also got 22 lessons and 11 and a half weeks to be able to get through those. So just seeing that you've got that amount of time and it's not too rushed, I think this may be a nice opportunity to be able to, whoops, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to admit someone there and I accidentally think I punched something I didn't mean to punch. Okay, so first of all, let's just take a look at the remote resources and the resources that you have available to you on the platform and look at what has been released and what's not quite ready. First of all, of course, you've got the platform resources that have both PowerPoint slides and Google slides that are editable, and we'll look at those a little bit more. But this would be a great time to be able to go into those slides, and you can pull and edit some of those to use in a synchronous session if you want. The at-home videos are released for all of these 3 units, pushes and pulls, light and sound, and properties of matter. The read alouds are released in English and in Spanish for all of those units. Yes.
We've got one that says they're having trouble accessing the slides. I can see it fine on mine.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean the at-home slides on Amplify. Sorry. No, Patty, I can see your slides. I have trouble on the online Amplify platform accessing the slides.
Okay, we can show you that.
On the second unit or the first unit?
I actually think I was in the first unit, not the at-home slides, but within just the normal Amplify platform.
Okay.
I was having trouble looking at the slides.
We got you.
All right. I know that occasionally, there was one day a couple days ago, I was trying to download Google Slides, and I could not get the Google Slides to download, where it kept
Yes.
saying it's so busy that
Yes.
that I was unable to download those. And so I just went ahead and pulled up the PowerPoint slides, because those always come down. I had that happen once this week too. And I think it just I must have been Monday that I was having that happen. I was looking at kindergarten pushes and pulls, and I couldn't get slides to download, but I could get to the PowerPoints. So I will ask about that, if there's any kind of a workaround for that when that happens. Okay, I'll let you know what I find out.
Hey, you guys, if that happens to you when you're actually working on it, there's that little bubble in the bottom right, the chat button. Don't hesitate to put a little comment in there and say, hey, I can't get the slides to download. On occasion, they'll do an update at a really odd time, and it's usually down for like 10 minutes. But it's really, really frustrating if you don't know. So don't hesitate to reach out to them and ask, and they'll get back to you pretty quickly, typically. Or reach out to Patty or I, we can ask. That's not a problem.
Also, the one thing that's not ready yet are the at-home units. And those have the student sheets that were separated into a shortened number of lessons. But those will be out that last week of December before winter break. So realizing that we've got other things available we can use, and that we only have to really make our way through 2 lessons a week to stay on top of the pacing schedule, we'll look at some examples of how you might tackle this without the at-home units yet. Okay, first of all, I was going to let you know that this week I'm in the process of recording Unit 2 orientation videos. There were Unit 1 videos on the program hub, but they don't have the Unit 2 orientation videos yet. So I'm in the process of doing those now. It will be about a 10-minute video that is just an overview of these second units. So you can take a look at that before you dig into the platform. I think it will be helpful to just kind of see where the unit is going and have that frame of reference in mind when you get ready to start working on your plans.
Patty, are you making those orientation videos for everyone K through 5 or just K through 2?
No, I'm going to be making them for everyone K through 5. I'm just starting with K2 first, because I knew that they're going to be digging into the regular platform. I'll have K through 2 done this week, and then once those get sent to David, he'll send them out to you guys. And then I'll be working on 3, 4, 5 the first part of next week.
All right, thanks.
Okay, sure. So just wanted to remind you that as you're going to do planning for your remote lessons, that there are lots of things that you've got resources that are there for you, and make sure where you remember where everything is. I know some of you, this year was your first year with the Amplify platform, so you may not have been back into the platform that much if you've been relying on the remote lessons as a nice short way to get into instruction in a remote setting. So just do remember that there are those editable PowerPoints and Google Slides. And also, if you haven't used them yet, the at-home videos that are on the program hub, some of them are really fantastic, especially they're very helpful for being able to show kids something that they don't have the materials at home to do. So I'll walk you through kind of a planning process with using the regular platform and the at-home videos, and how you can combine those so that you've got some things that are already downloaded and ready, that you can download and that will be ready for you to shoot out to students for days that are asynchronous days. Also, the read alouds of all of the unit books in English and in Spanish are there on the program hub. And also there are hands-on videos as well, if you ever want them, of activities in the unit that are in a section separate from the remote resources. And so those could be helpful sometimes if you just want your kids to be able to see other kids manipulating the materials to discuss it. Like, for instance, in the kindergarten pushes and pulls unit that's coming up, one of the first activities asks kids to move some things around their house. And so they're just practicing doing pushes and pulls. Well, there's a little video of kids taking different objects out of a bag and then pushing and pulling and moving those. And those hands-on videos are separate from the at-home videos. So we can go onto the platform in a little bit and I can show you where those are if you haven't discovered those yet. The videos of kids doing the activities, those hands-on videos, do not have any voiceover in them at all. It's just the kids manipulating things set to music. So there's not a separate English and Spanish version of those yet.
Patty, I have a question.
Sure.
I've watched some of the at-home videos and it doesn't seem like the slides that they are using match up with the at-home slides. Do you know, are they using just the regular slides for the videos?
Yes, they're using the regular slides from the platform that are on each lesson in that digital resources. And they may have edited those slides some to adapt to a remote setting. But yes, in general, they're using those regular slides off of the lessons on the platform. Good question. Okay, so remembering that those slides that you were talking about there, that they are using in the at-home videos, they are on each page of the lesson. Like you can see here, for example, is from the light and sound unit on lesson 1.2. And so they've got classroom slides in PowerPoint and in Google, as well as just other slides that are projections of things that you might want to share with kids. But those are on each individual page within the platform on the right-hand side of the lesson brief. And to get to some of the at-home videos and some of the other things like the read alouds in English and Spanish and so forth, you're going to that program hub. And I think most people probably may have been using that you recall that to get to the program hub and find those, you click first on the little hamburger icon up here, and then you scroll down and click on the program hub there. The videos are down underneath the area where the at-home units would have been. So once you click on your grade level and it takes you to your grade level page, you click on the unit, and like here, for example, are the videos that are up now for properties of materials, and they are just up right now in English, but they are ready that you can go ahead and be starting with them if you want to do a combination of the platform and the videos during the course of this. You can see over here too, I mean, this is just a screenshot, but there's the Amplify Science at Home. That's where you click to get to all your remote resources. This hands-on investigation support is the place where they have those videos set to music of kids doing different activities in the unit. The videos are numbered just like the regular platform. That makes it kind of easy to combine the two. I know that some people, when they'd been using the at-home lessons that are just numbered 1 through 18, or how many ever are on your unit, had not been sure of the correlation. So I'll show you in a minute. We've put up some correlation documents for that as well. Okay, so here you see up on, I just did a sort of a double screenshot to try to show you something. For example, here you can see up at the top, this is lesson 1.2 in properties of materials. And you can see across here, each of the activities, activity 1, 2, 3, and so forth. That when you click on those numbers, it takes you to the script for that lesson. Also, the videos that are in the at-home videos on the Program Hub are numbered so that they match. So when I went through to sort of plan how I would combine these two things, I just pulled up a tab with the regular lesson and then also with the videos. And so then I looked at the lesson and would think, is this something that's going to be really hard to actually show kids in a synchronous setting? And if it was, then I chose that day to do the video. But you can see, like, here's activity 1, there's the video of activity 1. Activity 2, video of activity 2. If you choose to do some of these at-home videos and you haven't done them before, those can be done with just paper and pencil, where, for instance, it might ask the kids, write down a few observations of the properties of this white powder that you see in the bag. And they can just do it on paper. They don't have to have specific worksheets or student sheets to do it unless you want to make those. Just talking with some teachers about other ways that they have been able to take a peek into what their students are understanding. You can let kids, if you're doing a synchronous session, you're showing slides, you're discussing with kids things about the phenomena that they're trying to figure out. If you ask them to draw something, they could share their ideas or their drawings by just unmuting or holding a drawing up towards the camera. You can also ask kids to record Flipgrid responses to share their work. I know I was talking with Hillary at Glendover, Hillary McWhorter at Glendover, and she was mentioning that their kindergarten had done a lot of that when they asked kids to make a drawing to show their understanding. Then they would set up a Flipgrid where they could hold up their paper and tell about their ideas just briefly on Flipgrid so that the teacher could easily see their work and then could also share that if they wanted to another day with other students. You can take questions that you have that you want kids to answer, like either questions from the student investigation notebook or questions that you were planning on discussing with the kids, and put those onto Google Slides and put them into Pear Deck, or use, I know some people have been using Nearpod, and then allow kids to respond to those. You have other ways that you've been getting feedback from your kids remotely that are working well for you that you'd like to share with us? If you do, please just feel free to unmute and let us know. How are you finding out what your kids know?
We use Seesaw.
Okay. Anybody else want to share? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and look at where the read alouds are too. Realize that if you have not used the read alouds directly off the platform. I mean, those are ready in English and in Spanish for your kids for all 3 of the second units. And if you, up above here is where the videos were. If you just keep scrolling down, you see it says Light and Sound Read Alouds. Click on the first one to get the English version. If you click on the second one, you get to all the books recorded in Spanish. And I'm just, I mentioned this briefly just a moment ago, but I was just going to share, I kind of worked up like a week 1 lesson plan for each of the 3 grades for the first unit. And I did that by just pulling up 2 tabs, the lesson on the platform, and so that I could look at what is the regular lesson going to be like. And then I pulled up the remote resources with the at-home videos to be able to take a look at what the videos looked like. And I'll kind of share a little bit more about that as we get going here, because sometimes the videos were fantastic. Occasionally I saw a video that I'd think, oh, I don't feel like I can see that quite right. I'd rather do that myself with the kids. So that's why I kind of went back and forth between the 2. So here with kindergarten pushes and pulls, thinking about the fact that you really only have to make your way through about 2 lessons a week, I made a plan for assuming that I could have a short synchronous science lesson with my kids twice a week. Then I made up lessons of what they would do on those asynchronous days too. So it was, I took lesson 1.1 in kindergarten and split it between Monday and Tuesday. And when you look at the little strip of activities on the regular platform, I could see there was a T activity, which means it's something that the teacher really does with the kids. A number 1 activity, 2, and 3. So I decided that I would like to have that beginning of the unit conversation with the kids live to help talk with them about the student role, about what the phenomena was, see what they already understood about pushes and pulls. So I would use the slides on the regular platform and could project those and lead the kids through the pre-unit assessment conversation. There's a little movement routine in there where they are moving and the teacher's directing them to do some different things. So that's kind of nice for a synchronous session to be able to get the kids to act some stuff out with you there. And then there's a little discussion about what engineers do. So that would have been day 1. Then on Tuesday, I might assign the videos for for activity 2 and 3. And so I went through and watched those videos, and I just noted the times right here. Like the first video for activity 2 is just 2 minutes and 17 seconds. There are places in there where it will say, okay, now pause the video and go do such and such. Like in this one, they asked them to pause the video and go do a movement hunt where they find things around their house that they can move. And it gives the directions very clearly using those slides from the regular platform. Then you give them the next video, which has the vocabulary routine in there as well as the word wall. There's a picture of the word wall. It shows a new vocabulary word object that they've put up. And so they've got a visual of the word wall with that new object. They pause to ask them to think about what are some of the objects that you moved on your activities hunt and so forth. Also on Wednesday, then I would have them go ahead and start the beginning of lesson 1.2, doing activities 1 and 2 with the at-home videos. There's a description of a game called Rug Ball, where if you were able to have your kids together at school next year when you're doing this, hopefully, the kids sit around on the rug and they do different kinds of pushes and pulls with the ball to look at changing direction and motion of the ball. Then activity 2 is discussing and asking them to visualize movement, and it's starting into that strategy of visualization, which is really played out big in this unit. On Thursday, I might have a synchronous session with them again where I ask them to use the slides and engage. I might use the slides, I'm sorry, for activities 3 and 4. There's a teacher-led discussion that I decided I would rather do that myself, where it's kind of talking about how scientists describe why they think things happen. And so it talks about the power of using the word because, I think this because, I think that because. So then you've had that opportunity to talk about how scientists are adding some data to back up their ideas. And then you could read with them the book talking about forces, because I just thought I might enjoy getting to share that together with my kids. And you could, again, you could pull down the read aloud video and show it that way, or you could do the page flipping book as well. Then on Friday, I decided what I would just do here for an asynchronous day is have the kids create a drawing to share that kind of answers the investigation question, because their first investigation question here plays all the way out in lesson 1.1 and 1.2. So you're hoping by now they can answer that investigation question. So I'd have them create a drawing to show what makes an object move, and they could share that in the session on Monday or via Flipgrid. Okay, just looking at first grade, the sample first grade plan, sort of the same thing. I did much the same pattern with K and 1 because again, I wanted to be able to have that pre-unit conversation and get some formative assessment data about what kids already knew about light and sound. That first lesson introduces the context of the whole unit, the student role, the phenomena, and so forth. Then on day 2, I'd have them watch the video, which is introducing the idea of engineering. And it also shows them and talks about reference books. It hits using a table of contents of it, shows them how to find what they're wanting to learn in this reference book. And then there's a second short video that reflects on what they've learned about engineers, what engineers do, and what they saw in that book, that reference book that they used. On Wednesday, they'd be ready to start lesson 1.2. I might have them watch the video for activity 1 and activity 2. The activity 2 is actually broken into 5 very short video segments, some of them, but if you download those, one will play right into the next if you're able to assign them that way. They also have got, in activity 1, they're doing a little review of the ideas they've learned about engineering and the vocab from day 1. And the teacher does a nice job with that in the pre-recorded video. Again, anytime you want to use those at-home videos as a model yourself and then record your own video, you certainly can do that. It's just knowing how tight time is. It's kind of nice to have this bank of videos that you could pull down and share on some days. So in activity 2, they're looking at how dark can they get things. And there are some great videos in there that even if you decide to do that lesson synchronously, there's video embedded in the PowerPoint where they're in a cave and it's completely black, and then you see them flash a light on and all of a sudden they can start to see things. And there's really some nice video footage there of exploring how dark it can get, because we all know how dark hard it is to get a room entirely dark when you want to show that to kids. Then on Thursday, I might have a synchronous session, adapt the slides again, review what we did on Wednesday, and then I might go ahead and read out loud with them that Can You See in the Dark, and then do a charting activity where we're writing down what we know about light so far. And then again, on Friday, do kind of a summarization, because in this unit, that first investigation question is answered completely in lesson 1.1 and 1.2. So I might ask them, just to give me their answer to what makes, to that investigation question, what makes something look brighter or dark. So they could share that out loud, or you could do it via Flipgrid or ask them to draw that and share it next week. And then with second grade, I followed a little bit different pattern there because of the nature of the lessons. Yes.
I'm going to have you pause there for just a second. I got a really good question in chat regarding, go ahead and go back to where you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was trying to click to get to the chat, and I've clicked something that moved me on.
One of the things the question was about is, what are teachers then doing on the asynchronous days? With this particular model, it is just that. It's a model. And so what we've got 36, 38 elementary schools, whatever we have right now. And everybody's schedule is just a little bit different. It will vary from kids getting science 5 days a week. K2, typically it's about 30 minutes, sometimes 15 or so, but typically in the neighborhood of 30. And the other extreme would be schools that are teaching you science 1 day a week. So when we come up with models, you've got to kind of come up with something that's kind of flexible. And the nice thing about the asynchronous approach is that those videos, if you've not seen them, are really interesting because they're done by a classroom teacher, just as if she's teaching a class virtually. And she will tell the kids, okay, pause here, write this down, draw your picture, think about this, and then start back up. So it's really kind of interesting. And when we were coming up with models for hybrid learning, one of the big advantages that science had were these asynchronous lessons. And so the way that the model was going to work was essentially the kids at home were getting the same instructions the kids in face, but the kids at home are using the videos, the at-home videos. So that's what they're there for. And we're not saying by any stretch of the imagination, this is the way that you have to do it. This is the way that you can do it. Here's a way to use the resources that are out there, which you all have been so blessed with. We are in the resources that we have compared to some other content areas are amazing. So I just want to clear that up. These are just models. Feel free to tweak them, tinker with them, play with them, throw them out the window, follow them exactly, whatever y'all want to do. Okay, what works best for you and your school. Okay.
And Dave, thank you, David. Let me add to that. Even if you followed the schedule, you could show those at-home videos, and then at the points where it pauses, you could show those in a synchronous session. The reason I chose to do that was because we know from the people we've talked with at various schools, there are some schools in Fayette County that are not doing any synchronous science with primary at all. It's all asynchronous. So I was just trying to make sort of a blended model of the two. But for example, on certain activities, where like here, for example, if I were able to do this synchronously, I'd just read this book myself to the kids out loud or show them the read aloud version. And I would also, like for instance here, where you're introducing the design challenge, you could go ahead and show the video if you wanted to, show the at-home video. And then at the parts where she says, okay, now stop and tell somebody, what do you understand about, like for instance, there's one place where they ask the kids, what do you know of that glue is used for in second grade, in the second grade one? Or what do you know of that, what are properties of glue that would make it really useful? And so, and then the teacher in the video will say, let's stop, and then you can answer to somebody at home, or you can stop and just think about it if you're there by yourself and you don't have a talk partner. So any of these things you could do yourself without having to assign videos for them to watch on their own. You could use those videos in a synchronous session. Okay. Okay. So looking again at second grade, I'm not going to belabor reading through all of that for you this time, since we looked through first and looked through second. But I'm just trying to show you, I think you're going to find when you really look at those videos and look at what's on the platform, you've got a lot of nice resources there to use, even without having yet the at-home materials. And Dave, like I said, David's going to post this PowerPoint so that you could look back at these, or if you can email me and I'll send you just your grade levels printed copy of this. And I'm happy to meet with your grade levels, or you individually even, and work on planning how you'd like to tackle Unit 2 for the first couple of weeks until those at-home units come out. And then by then, you'll be really familiar with the at-home videos, and hopefully that can help to be aware of the videos and the at-home slides and student sheets. So we know this actually originated from a question with the second grade at Cassidy, and I don't know if you guys have seen these yet, the correlations documents. They're posted on the Navigator. When you go to your grade level, it's one of the documents that's posted there for any of the units that have already had the at-home lessons released. The videos are just numbered exactly like the platform lessons. But this document, when we thought we were getting ready to start into a hybrid situation, Christy Fear had said, you know, like part of our second grade teachers have been using the at-home lessons that are numbered 1 through whatever. Part of them have been using the videos that are numbered 1.1, 1.2. They're trying to get back on the same page so that all the second grade teachers are in the same position in the unit, and it's hard to crosswalk that. So we developed these documents that you can use. So what I'm thinking is that will also be helpful in the reverse situation where, let's say in January, you've already finished doing the first chapter, and you're ready to start chapter 2. You'll be able to see, looking at this crosswalk document, if you're ready to start chapter 2 and you want to go to some of the shortened lessons in the at-home units, you can see you'd be ready to start with lesson 7. Okay, so please, we want you to let us know what your questions are and how we can help. I can get together with you or teacher teams from your school to do, 20-minute, 30-minute planning sessions and help get you going. We also want you to be aware that there are videos that will be out real shortly, like I mentioned, with Unit 2 overviews. That might be a nice place to start. And then you can get started with your remote planning. And we know based on the UK survey that what is most helpful to you right now may be quick answers to specific questions. So if you will let us know what those questions are, I can work on a document for you or work on a short video for you that you can then watch on your own time when it's convenient. Okay, so we just want you to be sure to let us know how we can help you. And I see that there's a bunch of questions in the chat, or some new questions in the chat. Let's see. I was looking to see if there were new questions. I guess it's comments from David. I could see new numbers coming up. Okay. You guys have any other questions, or would you like me to go into the platform and navigate, just showing you, reminding you where things are again, or anything like that? Any questions I can answer?
Don't be shy.
Anything you can think of that we can do to help make life simpler for you? Anything we could help you with? We're not going to be able to make life simple right now. Make life a tiny bit less complex, maybe.
Patty, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to make those models between that and then the video questions you're working on. And then the platform correlations that you did to the at-home video lessons. I think that those are going to be tremendous helps to classroom teachers.
Thank you. I hope that I hope the information gets out to them so everybody knows they're there and knows to contact me with whatever else they need, because I want to produce videos for you or documents for you that will help. That's what I'm here for. So. David, do you want to introduce your doggy?
Yeah, he's my star. This is Pavlov, and he doesn't have any social manners whatsoever. But he'll hear me in here talking, so he has to come in and jump on my lap because he thinks I should be talking to him instead of you all. So he's the baby.
I have to say that's the perfect name for a science teacher's dog.
That's the fun thing about it is people will be, oh, what's your dog's name? We'll say Pavlov. And if they're science people, they're like, good one. And other people are like, it's a weird name. I'm like, yeah, just don't ring the doorbell. It's okay. One thing I do want to say, I think everybody knows this, but just in case, remember with common assessments this year, that the first semester has been suspended. So you don't need to worry about those. And with K2, that's not a bad thing. Those are a little different because if you guys have done them already, they're oral, which is a little different from what people are used to. So, but if you've got questions about the assessments, feel free to ask. Because with the common assessments, we didn't make a special stop, drop, and assess kind of assessment. We just had it be the regular Amplify assessment because that's what you're doing in your normal everyday teaching. So that's where we are with that. So anybody have any other questions? Or is it going to be one of those things you get back with your PLCs and then you're going to have the questions, which is fine. Just
right. And if you do, please let us know how we can help, because we want to answer individual questions for you anytime we can.
Okay, if there are any questions, I just want to thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. I know it's an awfully nice afternoon out there, and you probably want to be outside rather than sitting in on Zoom, but after being there all day especially. So thank you for joining us, and I certainly appreciate the time that you shared with us.
Thank you both so much for this refresher. It was so helpful to get back into getting into things. So thank you again.
Anytime. If you guys want us to visit with your PLCs or plan with your PLCs, just let us know.
I sure will. Thank you.
Bet. Thank you. Guys, take care. Be healthy. Get out and enjoy this nice weather.
Yeah,
Oh
no
my
kidding.
gosh, it's so beautiful. All right, David, I'll go ahead and sign off if if you think we're all finished.
I do think we are finished, Patty. I think it was very helpful to them, that model and just going over where the stuff is again, I think was really beneficial. Sometimes I think we forget that the video or the slides are also in the regular platform.
Yeah, especially, you know, if you started the year as a new Amplify school this year and use those at-home units.
Yeah.
Just a little refresher on getting back into the platform might be good.
Yep.
So
I totally agree with you. But
okay,
thank
you
so
take
much.
care.
It's all good.
Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Love.